So the process is this, it's actually a class, it's a required final class in a final semester, 4-hour class. I direct the first part of it, and then I hire a contractor for the second part, who directs the students in actually fabricating and installing the components. It starts out with a charrette, initial charrette. Each student has to do 2 to 3 options next. This is because it's a great year where they're excited looking at the stuff next. Followed by, this is 2003, so I'm just showing you the process in 2003 in particular. That was cited when we were in this Amundsen building, the former IBM building on the 5th floor. It's like a 6,000 square foot space. We, for many years, built space, you know, a different spatial configuration within this site, 6,000 square foot site, for $6,000. So that means we did this stuff with 1/2-inch MDF, color and light. That's what you can do. You can form for whatever, you know, $1 a square foot or something. You can do form, color, and light. We've moved, we used MDF for a long time as kind of a toxic material. We've moved on to, we won't use that anymore. We use birch ply, which can be better, can be recycled. In this case, the partee, and each year the partee has to be different. This year it was an object. It was 7 feet high, 7 feet wide, and 72 feet long. It had 12 modules. Each student had a module, like this is where the public, whichever side. In this case, this was the public face, so there's an A face and a B face up against the wall. And for the students to be equivalent, you couldn't have students just get to be in the public side and some are just stuck on this side. So they each had a front and a back. They each had an A and a B. So within a series of regulating lines and rules, and a couple, we had to narrow it down to 4 or 5 options. We made this diversity, like we flipped them upside down, we twisted them, so we had this diversity of modules for each student. Next. We chose a color that year. It was this kind of chartreuse. Next. Discuss it. Next. And so we'll go fast. There they are. Students are beginning to fabricate. Next. There's curved acrylic components. We tried to outsource that. Couldn't do it. Nobody would do it. We developed our own way. The students did it themselves. Next. And pulling next. 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 There they are. Full size. Next. Paint. Next. Putting together. Next. Happy group. Next.
Wow.
Voila. Wow. Yeah, no, this is fantastic. 7 feet high, 7 feet wide, 72 feet long. One side of it. Next. Other side, another view of it. Next. And backlit. We really have the technique of the cast white acrylic backlit is fantastic. It creates a glow. Next. We had a DJ booth. I love the DJ booth. It was orange inside. It was adorable. Next. And in each of these, we incorporate all the program components. So it's display of student work, but it's also food and drink. So these were Sun tea bottles on shelves behind the wall that the spouts protruded through little holes, and they didn't know what they were getting. People loved that. They didn't know what juice they would get. So they were all over that. Next. Big happy opening. So we had about 3,000 people come to the opening, that big end of year show. So I'm going to show you the challenge. I have challenged the students each year to do a different partee. You guys know the term partee? Absolutely. Different basic organization of the scheme. And it's an object. So next. Oh, I forgot. We won. That year, our students actually submitted to the now defunct ID magazine, although I just learned that ID competition, the ID Annual Design Review, is still existing, although digital, it's online. Next. We won. There we are. There we are next to professional showrooms. Here's, at that time, we were called environmental design. We won an honorable mention. Yeah, published in the magazine. Next. So in 2002, we had essentially made a donut. Otis is a square building that has a square core with a corridor around it, and then space beyond that corridor that's typically in the original building was completely open. We bounded that corridor with this continuous blue wall. You were immersed into this blue world. Next. In 2004, we did the barcode. curved barcode plus a lounge with pink pillows. Next. The next year, this one's a little difficult to photograph, but I'll describe it. This was actually fantastic. From the corridor, you only saw white walls and an opening, and inside there were 5 circular rooms. It was completely interiorized, these cells. So you went from one cell to another with this work as it is. It was, what was interesting, every year, a student comes up with the partie, in this case, you know, these circular rooms, completely interiorized. You go in, the experience is not from outside. One student had that idea. That student never ever figures out how to build it. I don't know, it's really interesting. 2 other students stepped up with a brilliant, you know, genius idea, make it like an igloo. 480 boxes of 2 different colors is what it's made of. It's stacked up of boxes, and it's a consistent datum. I think it's 2241, something like that. Next. We did landscape. Really quick, okay. We did a landscape, a folded landscape. This is 2006, triangulated. It was CNC'd and laser cut. Triangles were laser cut. The ribs that follow that profile were CNC'd next. This year, a complete field of interlocking forms, some of them taken away. They all line up. Next. The last one that we built inside, this is when we took 1/2-inch MDF to its ultimate limit. 12-foot cantilever in 1/2-inch MDF. This was an array of very large objects, 8 by 8 by 16 next. Students putting the skin on those, they had apertures next, innies and outies, and the work was inside. Next. There they are. Each student had, that was really fantastic. Next. And then when we moved off-site, we had an interim dean, Wynn Keepley, who had this brilliant idea. Instead of spending this money and taking it down a week later, let's build something permanent. So our students built the landscape extrusion, went through the same process of charrette to different parties, to different, and I hadn't really described that. I'm moving very quickly now. It went through the same design process. This was the site. This is Otis. This is our fine arts building. This is just gravel and trees and not occupiable. What we did is we thickened it. We filled it up with the landscape extrusion. So it's a series of benches, lounges, seats, tables, shades, pillows, continuing across. It's 104 feet long. Next. The students cut and welded, installed the wood. That's great. That's Joam, who's at Columbia on the right. Next. Installed. It's made out of unistrut and Ipe. None of it's ripped. That was great. The unistrut, 1 inch on center. These 1x4s, 1x6s. We made our own deck clips out of stainless steel washers. Next. There it is. Next. Students enjoying it. Next. Our latest news, we just won. We won in the pro category. We just got a gold award. So if you guys know about the Spark Awards, you can Google that too. So Google Spark Awards. So Otis Social Space Landscape Extrusion just won that. Very proud of our grads. Next. And this is after that, this just very last year, as you can see last spring, had a small group of students thought we'd do something kind of simple. We'll do a barcode, but we'll blow it up. And that's why I called it the Big Bang barcode. Instead of being in a continuous line, it would be blown up, which actually became incredibly complex. Those are the different angles. There's acrylic panels next, and creates that. So we'll move around that object next. And very quickly, we have a special program each year. The Dongia Foundation sponsors a master class in residency. It's a 1-week class. Next. Last year, Sharon Johnston and Nader Tarani were our Dongia designers and residents. Nader Tarani is their office doc. Has anyone heard of office doc? It's now Nada. He's director at MIT, I think director of architecture at MIT. Next. Next. And Jürgen Meyer-H. We also have the George H. Scanlon Foundation that funds a lecture. We bring in an international lecturer. Jürgen Meyer-H., really interesting German architect, came last year. Next. And he's just done the Metropole Parasol. That is completely finished now. That is the largest timber frame construction in the world, probably. Really spectacular. Google that. It's a Metropole Parasol. Next. Done. Okay. On time?
12:56.
Oh,
So,
articulation tape? Okay. So we would love to, you guys think about, if you're interested in a multidisciplinary program and the opportunities, you know, for advanced getting into architectural curriculum, we have an articulation agreement with you. You know, if you successfully complete your program here, it's possible to be the transfer to OSIS if you need.
and that would be effective,
As soon as they finish. Yeah.
right, I mean, it could be effective for you guys.
Oh, yeah,
You have
yeah.
one more semester after
Right,
this,
right.
if you will.
It's a fall
succeed.
entry for juniors,
Right.
a fall entry, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And, let's see, if you got one of those packages, you have like a card. If you did not, and you want to get some information from me, put your name and email address here, and I'll email you that same package is in the PDF file.
So if any of you, and I'm sure I'll get an extra copy of this and can make copies for any of you who want to come by and see me after the fact. If any of you have a copy and don't feel like this is probably something that you're going to be drawn to, although I want to discourage that in all of you as much as possible, stay open. That's the whole purpose of these talks. I think that this was extraordinary. And again, it doesn't start for Linda. The whole picture that you just saw doesn't start without her experience here at SAC. And I don't know if she had any idea when she was in this room, not this room, it wouldn't have been here, you know, where she would be at this stage in her developing rich design career. But I know she knows it wouldn't have started without SAC. So you can all see yourselves in the same way. You don't know, so stay open to this. That's why there's such a richness and joy to her presentation. It's really an offer to you. This isn't just entertainment. You could be at this program if you want to dream.
Thank you, Wayne.
Thank you.